banner before the blade. There was the wind and the price it named. No hand to guide me, no fire to spare. Only the north and the iron air. I came through valleys the sun forgot, where pine roots drink from the bones of God, where frost lies still on the raven stone, and every oath learns to stand alone. The sea was black and the sky was gray. The old world spoke from the frozen wave. Not with mercy, not with light, not with mercy, not with light, but with the law that hardens night. Do not call this hunger pain. It is the hammer inside the vein. Do not call this silence loss. It is the hour when the weak self drops. When the north calls, I rise unsheltered, crowned by the cold where lesser hearts have faltered. Fire under ice, breath made steel. I walk through death to become more real. When the north calls, let comfort drown, let soft blood freeze, let the true name sound. No road back, no gentle dawn, only the soul that the storm leans on. I have seen men trade their spine for peace, but mountains laugh at a borrowed flame. Nothing endures without its name. So mark this hour in ash and snow. I was not built to kneel below. Every wound that the dark ones gave now burns like runes the fallen save. Far off the horns cut through the white, like judgment crossing the edge of sight. And all I buried to survive returns as force and arrives alive. When the north calls, I rise unsheltered, crowned by the cold where lesser hearts have faltered. Fire under ice, breath made steel. I walk through death to become more real. When the north calls, let comfort drown, let soft blood freeze, let the true name sound. No road back, no gentle dawn, only the soul that the storm leans on. Ravens above me, stone under heel. If fate wants language, then let it be steel. If the gods are watching, let them understand. I did not come for mercy, I came to stay. When the north calls, I do not bend. become the blade that the long nights end. Frost made will, oath made fire, a heart that climbs when the world climbs high. When the north calls, hear the deep earth ring. Not every scar becomes a wing. Open the gates if the worthy belong. I carried the winter and returned as song. No hand remained, no fear remained, only the breath and the name it made. The wind still cuts, the sky stays high. But I know now, why the North call. Moon over iron, white over blood. The night has a mouth and it does not ask. Far from the fire, beyond the cry, I found my name beneath the wolf's sky. The trees stood thin like spears in prayer. The cold moved slow through bone and air. Snow kept the marks of the hunted kind, and the dark ran close like a second mind. No temple lamp, no mercy bell, only the frost and the distant smell of smoke from a world too warm to know what wakes in a man when the blood runs slow. Every breath became a blade, every silence a thing remade. The moon did not bless, it showed which hearts were rash and which could hold. Beneath the wolf sky, I learned to move where fear grows teeth and the chosen prove. No shield of comfort, no saving light, only the will that survives the night. Beneath the wolf sky, I let flesh lie. The weaker self was born to die. Ice in the lungs, fire in the veins. I walked through the dark and came back chained. I heard the pines give names to the dead. I saw pale stars like nails overhead, and somewhere beyond that frozen dome, the old gods watch without a throne. They did not answer, they did not want. They left me there to be reforged, so I kept walking through drift and scar, guided by wounds like a northern star. Far in the white, the low horns roll like judgment carried through ancient cold. And all I buried to make it through rose from the snow with a heart of true. Beneath the wolf sky, I learned to move where fear grows teeth and the chosen prove. No shield of comfort, no saving light, only the will that survives the night. Beneath the wolf sky, I let flesh lie. The weaker self was born to die. Ice in the lungs, fire in the veins. I walked through the dark and came back chained. Let the beast circle, let the black wind climb. I have no use now for a softer time. If the path is cruel, then let it be clear. The soul grows larger where the world grows severe. Beneath the wolf sky I do not plead. I became hunger with a higher creed. Not for blood, not for rage alone, but for the right to return as stone. Beneath the wolf sky, hear the deep snow sing. Not every wound becomes a wing, but some are gates and some are flame, and some are the night teaching you your name. Moon over iron, white over black, white over black. The old fear fell and did not come back. The wind still hunts, but so do I, made by the cold. Beneath the wolf sky. Stone remembers what flesh forgets. Names do not die where the iron is set. Under the frost, under the pain, the fallen still speak through the rune and in the rain. I came to the ridge where the old stones stand, cut by grief and a steady hand. No crowns of gold, no soft farewell, only the marks of those who fell. The wind moves slow through the carved black lines, like breath returning from buried time. And every name in that frozen wall felt less like death, more like a call.
Not all who vanish are truly gone. Some become weight that you carry on.
Some become fire you cannot see until the dark asks what you will be.
Runes of the fallen burn in the stone, teaching the living to walk alone.
No easy peace, no gentle end, only the oath that outlives men.
Runes of the fallen carved through the night, cold as judgment, hard as right.
I read their silence and understood. A name means nothing unless it stood. I traced the cuts with an unloved hand, felt every winter that shaped that land. Men had bled where I now stood still, and left behind more than iron will. No songs were sung in that bitter air, no priest of comfort was waiting there. Only the truth that the lost ones keep. The strong do not vanish, they enter deep.
The ravens circled the sky, stayed pale. The old world leaned through the northern gale.
And every scar that I tried to hide rose like a rune along the inside.
Runes of the fallen burn in the stone, teaching the living to walk alone.
No easy peace, no gentle end, only the oath that out not praised, not spared, but marked by the road and the weight I bared. If I must be broken, let it mean more than fear in the blood or dust on the floor. Runes of the fallen speak through me now. I know what the frost was trying to allow. Not comfort, not rest, not a life made mild, but a soul made stern by the endless wild. Runes of the fallen cut deep and long. Not every memory comes a song, but some become law in the chest of the brave, and some become the path that the dead ones gave. Stone remembers,
We forget
names do not die when
will is said,
the snow may cover,
years may fall.
but the rune stays waiting, and it remembers all.
No thunder spoke, no fire fell, only the hush that judges well. One eye on time, one eye on bone, and all the proud turn quiet alone. I climbed where the black stone meets the sky, where even the ravens circle high. No feast below, no torch, no plea, only the weight of what can see. The wind was thin, the world was far, the frost held light like a buried star, and in that wide, severe expanse, I felt the end of every chance. Not punishment, not rage made loud, but something older than the kneeling crowd. A presence cold enough to spare, no lie that men still drag in prayer. Do not mistake the silent gaze for emptiness or absent blaze. Some powers do not need to speak, they measure iron and split the wheat. In Odin's silence I heard the law, no hand of comfort, only up, no gentle pardon, no easy sign, only the blade that divides the spine. In Odin's silence the false fell clear, the soul stood naked before its fear. No shouted wrath, no heaven torn, only the truth that remakes the worn. I thought the gods would come as flame, with drums, with horns, with a spoken name. wisdom sits where sound grows thin, and lets the guilty speak within. So there I stood with my scars unsealed, no shield of charm, no polished shield. Every excuse I had ever made went cold and brittle beneath that shade. The old self stirred like smoke in snow, a thing too weak to survive the glow. And all that remained when pride was done was what could still endure the sun. Two ravens cut through the frozen air, like thoughts that find what men do not dare. And every wound I had concealed turned into something that could not yield. In Odin's silence I heard the law, no hand of comfort, only awe, no gentle pardon, no easy sign, only the blade that divides the spine. In Odin's silence the false fell clear, the soul stood naked before its fear. No shouted wrath, no heaven torn, only the truth that remakes the worn. If wisdom costs me, then let it take the weak illusion I used to fake. If sight demands it, then let me lose whatever trembles when truth must choose.
In Odin's silence I became still, not empty but sharpened into will, not loved, not spared, not crowned by ease, but made more whole by the ruthless freeze. In Odin's silence the deep world rang, not every wound is a curse or fang. Some are the door that the worthy cross, some are the price of becoming lost. In Odin's silence I did not pray, I let the lesser self decay. And when the cold had finished its art, it left one law inside my heart.
No thunder spoke, no fire fell, only the hush that judges well. The sky stayed hard, the world stayed wide, but what was false did not survive. Red on the white, steel in the air. The day did not break, it opened and stared. No song for mercy, no hand for birth, only blood on the frozen earth. Morning came pale through a wall of smoke. The first
first horn sounded and the silence broke. Snow turned dark where the war feet ran, and the sky looked down without a plan. Shields rang hard like a struck old bell. Names rose once and then they fell. Breath burned raw in the bitter wind, and every step was a vow skin thin. No hatred pure, no glory clean, only the weight of what must mean. When men stand fast in a dying line and give their flesh to an older sign, the ground drank deep, but it did not praise. It kept the dead and it kept their gaze. And every cry that the cold air took was written down in the world like a book. Blood on the frozen earth, bright and severe, a crown for the brave and a mirror for fear. No warm light survives where the iron falls, only the heart that answers when the last horn calls. Blood on the frozen earth, red through the snow, proof of the price that the unbroken know. Not every man who enters returns the same. Some become silence and some become name. I saw the strong with their faces split still rise again and refuse to quit. I saw the weak in the armor shine, break from within at the narrow line. The ravens turned in the wounded sky, waiting to learn who was born to die. And under their black and patient sweep, the old gods watched and did not sleep. There is no comfort in fields like these, no gentle truth in the winter trees. Only the law that the sword edge keeps. The soul is measured where the cold runs deep. And when my own blood touched the wide, the whole world sharpened into sight. I felt no prayer, I asked no worth. I gave my answer to the frozen earth. Blood on the frozen earth, bright and severe, a crown for the brave and a mirror for fear. No warm light survives where the iron falls, only the heart that answers when the last horn calls. Blood on the frozen earth, red through the snow, proof of the price that the unbroken know. Not every man who enters returns the same. Some become silence and some become name. Let the spears break, let the long shields bend. A soul is not proven by how soft it can mend. If I must fall here, then let it be known I did not die begging. I stood like stone.
Blood on the frozen earth, witness and flame. The field strips the mask and remembers the name. No borrowed courage, no borrowed breath, only the will that stays upright in the mouth of death. Blood on the frozen earth,
Then let them see what the winter taught me to do. Red on the white, steel in the air. The day did not mourn, it simply was there. The snow will close, the years will pass, but blood on the frozen earth does not forget. To their feet. No voice called out, no trumpet declared. I crossed the threshold of the Hall of Spears. The pillars were carved with the wounds of war, tall as memory, older than scars. Each flame burned pale in iron ring, like winter taught to remember kings. The floor held marks where the fallen came, not as dust but as living name. And every step through that silent span felt less like fear, more like a reckoning. No feast of laughter, no drunken pride, only the weight of the ones inside. Only the hush of a place that knows which men stood firm and which men froze. I felt my failures enter first, all that was hollow, all that was cursed. And in that all they could not hide, the spear sees through what the mouth decorates. In the hall of spears nothing false remains, the weak mask breaks, the true blood reigns. No easy honor, no borrowed light, only the soul that survived the night. In the hall of spears I stood undone, before the dead, before the one. Cold made witness, fire stood near, and the heart learned wait. In the hall of spears, along the walls were the signs of men who gave their breath and did not bend. No gold was needed, no jeweled throne. Their glory lived in the marrowed stone. I saw my own reflection there, not as I wished, but stripped and bare. Every excuse, every softened line fell from the chest like rusted iron. And far above where the rafters climbed, the ravens moved through the smoke and time, as if the roof itself could hear what kind of man had entered here. No word was spoken, still I knew this place does not receive the untrue. It does not care for hunger or tears, it opens only to wait in years. In the hall of spears nothing false remains, the weak mask breaks, the true blood reigns. No easy honor, no borrowed light, only the soul that survived the night. In the hall of spears I stood undone, before the dead, before the one. Cold made witness, fire stood near, and the heart learned wait. to where I have been. In the hall of spears I did not kneel. I let the old self split from steel. What could not endure was left behind. What could stand remained defined. In the hall of spears the deep world swore, you do not enter as before. You leave with silence inside your chest, and the law of the worthy burned into breath. In the hall of spears I knew at last the dead are not dead if the oath still lasts. And all I carried through frost and years found its true shape in the hall of spears. Stone without end, fire without heat. The shadows remained, but did not retreat. No voice called out, no trumpet declared. I left more whole from the hall of spears. The road is ash, the wind is flame. I did not come to leave unchanged. No hand to guide, no plea escapes. I stand unshaken before the gates. I climbed through weather that broke the weak, through frost that taught me what not to keep, through nights that hollowed the soft apart and left one law inside the heart. Behind me now lie bone and smoke, old names, old wounds, old vows I spoke. Ahead no comfort, no promise warm, only the doors that outlast storm. The sky stood still like a lifted blade. The ravens watched what the long road made, and every step through the final white felt less like doubt, more like right. I did not crawl to reach this height. I gave my fear to the northern night. What still remains is clean and hard, a soul made sharp where the world scarred. No fear before the gates, no tremor in the breath. I brought my scars like iron proofs and walked them here through death. No fear before the gates, let the deep doors see. I did not come to beg for place, I came as what made me. I heard the old horns under stone, a sound like judgment carved in bone. Not wrath, not mercy, not command, but something vast enough to stand. The snow around me held no grave. It looked like ground the worthy gave, a white that did not hide or heal, but showed what only frost reveals. I thought of all I once had been, the half-made will, the borrowed skin, the man who wanted warmth and rest before the storm had named the test. Now nothing in me asks to flee, the cold has finished shaping me. And if these gates are meant for truth, then let them read me through and through. No fear before the gates, no tremor in the breath. I brought my scars like iron proofs and walked them here through death. No fear before the gates, let the deep
made me. If I am measured, let it be whole by what stood firm inside the cold. If I am open, let it be clean. No false desire, no hidden plea. No fear before the gates. The last wind cuts and fades. I stand with winter in my blood, unmoved by what it takes. No fear before the gates. Now let the threshold know. Some men are broken by the climb, some are forged by snow. No fear before the gates. I did not survive to bow. I carried frost, I carried fire, and I am ready now. The road is ash, the wind is flame. The gates stand still and know my name. The gates did not open with mercy. They opened like dawn through a wound. The sky took flame without warning, and the old world made room. No hymn of comfort was given, no soft hand lifted me higher. Only the deep hall ascending as Valhalla rose in fire. I stood where the white world ended, where silence had hardened to law. Behind me the road of the broken, ahead what the worthy once saw. The wind still carried the winter, the scar still lived in the bone. But something vast in the distance answered the strength I had grown. The mountains were crowns of ember, the clouds burned gold through the black. And every oath I had carried came like a living force back. Not as regret or as burden, not as a debt to admire, but as the shape of becoming when Valhalla rises in fire. All that the cold had taken, all that the dark made clear, all that the blade had tested now stood beside me here. The dead were not far behind me, the runes were not buried below. The whole long weight of the north had become the light in the snow. Valhalla rises in fire, out of the frost and the scar, out of the oath that did not break, out of the night you are. Valhalla rises in fire, no false soul enters this flame. Only the hearts that endured the storm and came back bearing a name. Valhalla rises in fire. Hear how the deep earth sings. Not every wound becomes a grave. Some become the road for kings. The hall was not built from comfort, nor held by an easy grace. Its pillars were made of endurance, its light was a testing place. I saw in the blaze of the threshold the selves I had failed to outgrow. The fear that once begged for shelter, the hunger that wanted the low. And one by one they were taken, not stolen, not cursed, not denied,
but burned from the frame like weakness that could not survive inside. Then all that remained was harder, cleaner than blood in the snow. A will that had crossed through ruin and still had the strength to go. The ravens turned through the high flame, the horns rolled deep through the stone, and all that I had become stood there unborrowed, my own. No voice of a god had to name me, no hand of the heavens had to agree. The road had already spoken, the winter had already read me. Valhalla rises in fire, out of the frost and the scar, out of the oath that did not break, out of the night you are. Valhalla rises in fire, no false soul enters this flame. Only the hearts that endured the storm and came back bearing a name. Valhalla rises in fire. Hear how the deep earth sings. Not every wound becomes a grave. Some become the road for kings. Let the sky burn open, let the old drums shake. Let the hall of spears remember every step it took to make. Let the fallen stand beside me, let the silence fill the choir. I did not come here seeking heaven, I became worthy of the fire. Valhalla rises in fire, and I rise in it too, not as the man who feared the cold, but as the one it drew through. Valhalla rises in fire. The last gates stand undone. The north that called me into pain now calls me as its son. Valhalla rises in fire. No kneeling left in me, only the oath, the scar, the will, and all they forged me to be. Valhalla rises in fire. So let the high hall ring. I carried winter through my chest and returned with flame as king. The gates did not open with mercy. They opened because I had changed. The sky still burned above me, but nothing in me remained afraid. The frost, the blood, the silence, the road, the wound, the pyre, all of it led to this moment when Valhalla